God was lamb here. God was lamb. God, Jehovah, Grant Salvin. Grant Salvin is the name he was given at birth this time, 36 years ago, by his crazy biological mother, very evil woman. Grant made a video earlier talking about, lots of things. It was called God Was Lamb Update. So Grant said he'd make another video tomorrow, probably, but he's decided he wants to make one now. And judging by his fancy new watch, it's 11 p.m. So the day hasn't quite finished yet. Or we haven't reached midnight yet. But whatever. Listen, Grant wants to talk about politics. Politics is something Grant has steered clear of for quite some time, because when he was, Grant used to really spend all his time thinking about politics years and years and years ago. Talking several years ago. Probably about 5 or 6 years ago, Grant stopped. He was like, there's no point. But this is the thing, Grant was mostly right-wing, conservative, Brexit voter. And, Grant was, listening to Nigel Farage while he was a member of the European Union. When he was part of UKIP. And Grant always used to love, Grant used to enjoy watching all his videos. And Grant learned a lot of stuff from listening to Nigel Farage. And when Nigel Farage announced he was putting £1,000 bet on the outcome of the Brexit vote, Grant placed a £1,500 bet and made a lot of money. And Grant was hated at work because he was working in the NHS with a bunch of leftists, and they hated him for it. And Grant felt like putting his money where his mouth was. Is whatever was. Anyway, isn't it interesting? Grant. Oh look, migrants. Oh yeah, migrants. Yeah. Lots of migrants coming across. Yeah, it's all about witchcraft. It's all about stealing God's. This is the thing. Society is. Grant doesn't really want to keep explaining every single video. Grant's made like 50, 60 hours of videos that basically nobody will watch. So, anyway, the fact is, Grant is God. God is Grant. Have you ever heard anyone say, God grant us? Yeah, well, God Grant. That's the name Grant has. That's the one it's an interesting name. It's quite a witchy name, really. Well, it's, in a way, because what does grant mean? So if you give something, you're granting them. So anytime Grant receives or gives anything with anybody, there's always this magic stuff going on. So it gets very difficult. Grant is like, Grant is God, and the world cannot exist. People cannot live without God's energy. They can't really, they can't survive, That's the thing, God blesses his children, his children who love him, he blesses them with his powers. But the people who don't love God still draw power from God, but they don't acknowledge God and they hate God. And this is the war, it talks about the war in heaven in the book of Revelation. This is what it is. We live in a world where people want to call the ground the sky, and they want to call the sky the ground. You know, you ever heard of the Tower of Babel? People yappy yap yap before their crazy words, you know. Are you here? Do you hear? You know, je suis. Yeah. You know, Jesus never said I am. He said ego. You know. Evil eye, Freemasonry, one-eye symbolism, the all-seeing eye. You know, look, let's talk about politics, shall we? Let's talk about politics, because the fact is Grant was born in 1987. The first politician that Grant was aware of as a child was John Major. And then Tony Blair, he became Prime Minister, and it's interesting because when Grant was a little boy, he was obviously influenced by his family members, you know, his mother, grandparents. So he was already, you know, against Tony Blair before he became Prime Minister. And he was a total disaster, was he not? You know, Grant just heard a quote. Since Tony Blair became Prime Minister, the population of the United Kingdom has grown by 10 million people, and 85% of that are non-British people who've come across the sea, or they've flown here, or whatever, right? Look, the thing is it's ridiculous how people behave. They think that they're going to, they think that they can vote their way out of this disaster. The fact is, if Labour or the Tories win, because they're no better anyway, are they? They're crap. They're liars, because they're all Freemasons. You know, they all work for Satan. Yeah, they're all materialistic. They're not. They do not. They're not material. They're not spiritually minded. They are materialistically minded. And the fact is, the vast majority of them are Freemasons, and they do evil stuff, very evil stuff. And they want to play this game of left versus right. It's ridiculous. It's all lies. It's a total, and then you have the House of Lords. Oh yes, the House of Lords. Yeah, it's and what is Westminster Abbey anyway? It was literally like an abbey that was converted into Parliament or something. Well, we know what an abbey is, right? It's kind of like a monastery, right? Something like that. It's like an old place of worship, essentially, right? Yeah, I think so. Anyway, you would think God would know, right? But yeah, whatever. But the thing is that what difference is it going to make? The thing is, if Labour or Tory get in, even if Nigel Farage, let's say he's not a bad actor, let's say he's a good guy, okay, even though he doesn't love God. Obviously, he doesn't believe in God. He doesn't say that he loves God. So you're doomed to failure anyway, okay? Because he's on the side. If you're not on the side of God, you're on the side of Satan. If you do not love God, if you're not going towards God, you're going towards Satan. Plain and simple. That's how it works. That's really how it works. And the thing is let's say Labour won the election, because it's the most likely outcome, isn't it? It's really interesting, actually. Actually, that's not. Look, so if Labour won, then you know, they have 3 or 4 years to completely destroy this country. And the thing is that people are so gullible and stupid. You know, you might have a lot of people thinking, oh, wow, the Reform Party, they're getting loads of votes and this and that and whatever, right? So many things can go wrong in 3 or 4 years, 3, 4, 5 years. It's a total disaster waiting to happen. You know, you can try voting for people, but, you know, if you look at the last 30 years, it's just one disaster after another. All they do is lie, kick the can down the road, and, you know, your people are just living from one hope to the next hope and to the next hope and to the next hope, waiting for the whole country to implode. It's God that people need, not some arsehole politician who will never deliver on their promises, because they never do. There's always a disaster. There's always some excuse. I mean, think about when Tony Blair was Prime Minister. Remember that film that came out, the Blair Witch Project? Everyone was like, wow, the Blair Witch Project, so amazing. You know, everyone liked that film. Yeah, Grant remembers watching it just before he went to boarding school, just before 9/11. Grant went to Charterhouse. He was there for 1 week, and the World Trade Center buildings got hit, and it has to do with God. Yeah. Grant's explained it all in his previous videos. Go watch them. We're talking about politics today. And the elect. So what does it say about, in the book of Revelation, it says that the days would be shortened for the sake of the elect. Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Because when's the longest day of the year? Which day is that? What's the date? Well, it's either, if it's not tomorrow, it's the day after or something. What the day after that? We're at that point where the days are just going to start to get shorter, aren't they? So let's have a think about that one, shall we? Yeah. So people they all want to vote in the election. So first of all, in represents Grant's birthday. It also represents King Charles III's birthday, because Grant and King Charles were born on the 14th of November. November represents the number 9, and it represents the number 11. Okay? I is 9, N is 14. Okay? Also in tarot, you have 9 is the Hermit. Grant's the Hermit. Yeah. Well, he's not Virgo, but he sits in his house year after year after year after year after fucking year. While, you know, a bunch of Virgos, they're like, oh, we're the Hermit. Oh. When they're out, you know, partying and whatever the fuck they do. Yeah, stealing God's energy. You know, Grant's the real Hermit. And N, 14, that's Archangel Michael. It's alchemy, magic, mixing of stuff, alchemy, temperance, art, magic. Grant's very powerful. And the powers are magic, sorcery, alchemy. It's God's power. That's what, you know, what people call magic and sorcery and witchcraft is just them drawing God's power towards themselves so that they can be like, oh, it's so wonderful to be me. Wow, must be so special or something. No, that's just the serpent speaking in your ear, telling you, no, yeah, go on then, you do that. You try to steal God's power, just like Eve did, and Adam. Yeah, try and do the same thing they did. It's the same story. It's been the same story since day one. God's not happy. Listen, who are the elect? Well, the elect are those who love God. Not the ones who say they love God. That's different. If they love God, then they are the elect. Grant is the elect because he's good. Okay? So you're looking at the elect. And God does not see anybody around. There are invisible spirits that support, that are around God, that are around God, but human beings, people in physical bodies, nowhere to be seen. So people want to vote in the election. What does shun mean? What does mean? Yeah, so what's the deal with all this crap? It's interesting, because you have the Reform Party, who's Mary, the whore of Babylon. You got Mariana, yeah, Rihanna, that bitch. She, that's the thing, the very first word of the book of Genesis, well, Genesis in Hebrew, the original word is Bereshit or Bereshit. Bereshit. It looks like when you spell the transliteration, people spell it Berishit or Berisheet. So like Bereshit. So what it's saying is Mary, ma, mother, yeah, the whore of Babylon, she sits like a queen while her husband's dead. You walk in any Catholic church, you see a bitch holding what looks like a little baby doll. Yeah. And they all worship her as Mary. And then there's, dead Jesus on the cross. And everyone's like, oh yeah, she's the Holy Mother, she's the wife of the Holy Spirit, God. Yet what is she? A whore and a liar. And the fact that people worship her, they're just worshipping the world. You're just worshipping the dirt. She's the serpent, essentially. That's her thing. She's materialistic. She's the soil, the dirt. Evil. Evil. Listen. The elect. And everyone wants to play this game of elections and elections and elections. What a joke. It was Rishi Snake or Sunak. Rishi Snack. Slithery little snack. Yeah. And you got Keir Starmer, who's, was he a member of the Trilateral Commission? Have you seen the seal of the Trilateral Commission? They've got one, the Great Seal of the Trilateral Commission. It's got like a hydra on it, or is it a seven? It's like a hydra. It's a hydra, isn't it? Is it 6-headed, or is it 7-headed? Can't remember, but it's that's the thing. Very evil people doing very evil things. They con people. They lie to the public. They steer. That's the thing, right? Someone you could get in a taxi cab. They could take you on a pleasant 2-hour-long drive or something like that, and drive it straight into a fucking brick wall in the lot, and you had no fucking idea. Because you decided to take a nap on the back seat. You just thought, oh yeah, they're being pleasant. You could probably trust them, but then they decide to kill you. It's easy to start World War III, isn't it? I mean, look at the state of the world. You got wars being fought all over the place. You know, what makes you think in the next couple of years, the Labour Party or the Tory Party or even the Reform Party, you know, could start a world war, you know, because they could be trying to send people in World War III or, you know, sending people off to war. You have no idea. Isn't it interesting what Rishi Sunak, he was talking about getting people into the armed forces. I mean, Grant doesn't give a shit. I mean, the fact is, if they were to call up anybody to the armed forces, the last person one of the last people they want to ask is Grant, because Grant can barely do his shopping, let alone barely get up the fucking stairs. But whatever. Anyway, the fact is that the fact that people put their faith in politicians is madness. You know, Grant was very, you know, really took a lot of interest in politics for years. But after Donald Trump won the US election, yeah, it was all downhill from there. It just, complete waste of time, because he was just full of excuses. You know, he didn't deliver anything worth mentioning, really. And, you know, how many decades do we have? You know, how many decades do people have to wait? Decade after decade. You know, people are just going from one hope to another hope to another hope, waiting for something to get solved. And in the meantime, everything gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And what do people do? Nobody turns to God. You know, how many people have turned to God? Anybody? God's being ignored. The entire world has nothing, you know. This is God. God says, hello world, this is God. And everyone's like, no, you're not. You're not God. So what does God have to do about it? What does God need to do to convince people that he is God? God knows he's God. Like, there's no mistaking it at all. There really is no mistaking it. People will die. People will suffer. Coronavirus, you remember that one? Yeah. Why do you think that happened, you fuckwits? Yeah, God's sitting right here. Yeah, that's right. You know, when your relatives die, your family die, your kids die, or you go off to war or whatever it is. You know, you lose your house, you lose your car, you lose your job, you know, your girlfriend breaks up with you, your boyfriend dumps you, or whatever it is, you know, your life turns into a complete fucking disaster. Yeah, guess who you can thank for that? Well, yourselves. But God's right here, and, you know, you really need to know where your blessings come from. Because if you don't know where your blessings come from, well, you may as well just jump off a fucking bridge. Yeah. Seriously. Grant's already said, you know, he's got 40, 50 hours of videos you can go through. Go ahead. Get on with it. You ain't got long left. That's for sure. You know, Grant, you know, he's at the point now where it seems, you know, Grant has no social life. He has no friends. He has no family to speak of, really. None. He wouldn't even call them family. Doesn't speak to anybody. Goes an entire year without, you know, there's literally nobody to talk to. Nobody who wants to have a conversation. And Grant can't explain. You know, Grant just wants to tell people the truth. You know, Grant never expected to find out that he was God. He found out that in a very bizarre way. You know, it happened with ghosts and spirits and demons and angels and seeing the world reflecting shit, you know, like when, Grant starts wars, you know, things like, you know, supernovas, kilonovas, you know, there was like kilonova, it shook the entire universe, you know, earthquakes, tsunamis, hurricanes, tornadoes, electrical storms. You know, Grant did a post on Facebook about the World Trade Center being struck, about Ground Zero, and about it being struck by a lightning bolt at the new One World Trade Center. And guess what happened within 24 hours? Yeah, go ahead again. Yeah, that's because Grant has a lot of power. That's why. It sounds unbelievable, doesn't it? Yeah, God's power does sound unbelievable. Well, there's a surprise. How many people walk around on planet Earth who have the power of God, do you think? Well, it's only one person who's got it. If you're looking at it. So, yeah, Grant's just trying to figure out how to bring this all to a close. He just wants this to stop. And Grant is getting closer and closer by the day. So, Grant thought he would talk about politics a little bit. Grant's got a bit more. Well, this is the thing. People are always doing magic. Everything's magic in this world. It's like if you went to someone 2,000 years ago and you said, yeah, the universe is governed by the laws of physics, they'd look at you and think, what? It's the same situation. Magic is in everything. Everything has magical properties. People, when they put their clothes on, when they, all of it's rituals and alchemy and the mixing of things, the logos that you wear, what the logos is? The logos, the word of God. God, the word. Yeah. You heard about that? Do you know anything about that? Or you been too busy watching fucking Harry Potter shite? Yeah, probably. Or Family Guy. Or whatever crap you managed to find to watch. Yeah. Yeah, look. The situation is looking very bad for people. Because Grant doesn't have a single person that he feels loves him. Doesn't even have one acquaintance. Not even an acquaintance. None. Zilch. Absolutely none. And he's not talking about his Auntie Christine, who used to be a Catholic nun. Nope, not her. Definitely not her. She's very evil. She has no idea though. She's just totally fucking delusional. Deranged. Yeah. She probably have Grant euthanized if she had half a chance. Yeah, she probably would. Yeah. So, the elect. God. The elect are those who love God. And good. God is, where our, Grant has no. That's the thing, there are people out there who say they love God, they love Jesus, but Grant feels like if you were to speak to them and say, hey, this is God, God was Lamb, God was was Jesus, this is the one who was crucified, who took all the world's sins upon himself, so that you could be forgiven, that you could find a way to heaven. So that you could establish a relationship with God, because you know that he loves you and he wants you to love him as well. And he's given 2,000 years since then, pretty much. And where are we? Well, God's sitting in his house. He's 36 years old, and everybody seems to want to be him or hates him. And nobody will acknowledge Grant or the things that, this conversation goes absolutely nowhere with anybody. Nobody wants to know that Grant is God. So what is the solution? Well, pain and suffering and misery for people is the future. That's what it is. When you think about it, the current Prime Minister, Rishi Sun. The sun in the sky, is, if it didn't exist. See, Jesus said that he's the light of the world. When he's in the world, he is the light of the world. But, he was likened to that sun in the sky. Because without that sun, everyone would be dead. Isn't it interesting that in the English language, the word sun, what does that mean? You have sun in the sky, the son of a man. You have the grandson, great-grandson, grant. You notice how those are very, very similar? Migrant crisis. The holy book. What was it Jesus said? He said, seek and you will find. That's how it's translated into English, obviously, but seek. So what's the Sikh holy book? Sikhism? Yeah, it's what is it? Guru. They call the book a guru, even though it's not. They don't know it as, it's a book. It's a collection of writings. But they call it a guru, and they talk about it as if it's a human, like a god, or, a guru. They call it a guru. Guru Granth Sahib Ji. Something like that, right? And they actually, when they have the book in their house, they're supposed to have a separate room for the book, for the guru. And they'll have a special room to keep him in. Yeah. The thing is like Grant could literally put every single bit of evidence he's ever found about all of this stuff and present it all. It's, you can go through that's the thing. It's like, if everyone's in the desert and God created a enormous lake just beside the desert where people could go to and drink from it to stop them from dying of dehydration, and God was saying, this way, this way, this way. Nobody wants to know. People will dig their heels in and die of dehydration. Or they'll just die. They will. Because they don't want to listen. They don't want to hear it. So, what more is there to say? Really? There are very few people who would hear God's voice, probably, but where are they? Grant can't find them. It seems that every person that Grant comes in contact with is dead, spiritually dead. Grant could go searching and searching and searching and searching and searching. He hasn't got time for that. It doesn't seem practical. When there's a planet of 7.8 billion people or something like that, or 7.9, but whatever it is. I mean, the fact is, Grant could go to a local church and say, hey everybody, it's God. God's here. How do you think they would react? They'd probably say, whatever, get out of here. So they'll be like, Jesus is coming in the clouds. It's interesting that, isn't it? Yeah. Clouds, cloud computing. There's a guy called Robert Breaker. He has a church, an online church. Yeah, look. He even got his stupid fucking little thing here. Look, the Cloud Church. Yeah, the Cloud Church with. Can you read that? The Cloud Church with Robert Breaker. Dog tags. Isn't that interesting? Dog. Because it's the flip of, you take the word dog and you flip it around. What do you have? Oh yeah, God. Oh yeah. Man's best friend. The opposite of God. Isn't that interesting? So it's like the reverse of God. Which is, well, what did Moses see of God? He saw his back, didn't he? But anyway, look. The reverse of God is dog. And man's best friend, he keeps dog on leash. You understand? It's weird magic, is what it is. It's weird magic. Yeah, Grant likes dogs. But people have no idea what the fuck it is that they do. They have no idea. And when Grant says no idea, he doesn't mean that they actually, know in their minds. They're like, yeah, they know that idea. No. He's talking about the opposite of yes. You see how your Tower of Babel bullshit is really annoying? And God's just going to smash that down. And everyone's going to be like, what's going on? We all thought we were God, yo. Ah. That's the thing, How many people, they want to believe they are something they are not. It's interesting that people do this. That's what people do. And when God comes back to planet Earth and he's like, hey, it's God here. They're like, no, you're not. You just want to believe that you're God. Evil fucks. Burn in hell then. See if Grant cares. His Grant doesn't give a shit that you burn in hell. Seriously, if that's your attitude towards God, then get out. Suffer. Grant's had enough of it. God's had enough suffering to save a bunch of evil heaps of shit that don't deserve a life. Plain and simple. Anyway, what's this video going to be called? Don't know yet. Gonna think of something, but what a waste of time this world is. Really. Yeah, there are some that God loves. There are some, yeah. But Grant has no way of communicating with them or getting in touch with them, and they don't know where to find these videos because no one will listen. Nobody is interested. Grant takes a video of himself farting, and people are like, "Wow, let's watch that crap." Get 400 views, 434 views, or whatever it is. But the other videos that go on for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours, not a single view. Nothing. Anyway, that's enough yapping.